Hey, I skipped over the front thumbnail. I don't know why I keep doing that. I think because my scene is named with a beginning, same letter, P. Project thumbnail and pattern serger home machine camera setup. So sorry about that. I was sitting there like, hello, how are you guys doing? How are you surviving? You guys hanging in there? It's kind of crazy right now, isn't it? I just thought I'd start early. I thought I was going to be late, so then I kind of scurried and got everything together. And here we are. So I have a couple things for show and tell. I have the little mini sewing block I did for my first the mini series sew along I'm doing. If you saw on Instagram, this is not my wheelhouse. So I'm learning, but I was inspired by someone else how they did this in concentric colors. It's really tiny. It's 4 inches finished. I have this extra just in case I want to keep going. This was my trial. So it really looks more like this where all the colors are on one side and then the background's on the other. But that's like a weekly thing. There's like 8 of them. So that's my little show and tell. I've done that, and then yesterday I got absolutely no work done, and I at the very end of the day cut and sewed my larger dog Molly a dog bed. But I only have a picture of Loki on it, so I'll post that later too. I just really like making that pattern, and I made it really, really short this time. So anyway, I hope you can all see me and hear me okay. We sewed the bag that you guys designed and on Saturday. It went really well actually, but towards the end we started realizing that the flap wasn't going to do what we wanted it to. And it also the water bottle pocket design was also going to prevent us from sewing it in a way that we wanted to. So we kind of stopped there, and I had the front finished, I had the inside here finished. So here's the laptop sleeve, and then here's this like 4 pocket thing, the EpiPen pocket and some extras. And then this was supposed to go across like this, like a little divider. Hey, Barbara. And then your water bottle would go right here, kind of separate. But what I realized was that means that you would have had to bind the perimeter of your last 2 seams, and I don't really want to set you up for that. So you can do that if you want. I just want to give you some options. So we can't have this going across the bag, because then you really can't sew this seam clean. You could only do it on the outside of the bag, which means you would bind it. So hey Leslie, thanks for saying that. So we're going to make the pocket come from the end here. And you can see I just ended up sewing the bag together. Raw edges are exposed just so we could kind of see what it's like. And what I think I've decided is that I overdid the laptop pocket. My laptop is about 13 inches long and not even 9 inches wide. It's not that full size, but even still, it is swimming in here. Look at that thing. This is the pocket. So I think we can take out a lot of volume up here. Maybe we pivot it out. Because the thing is, like, even we have this little, like, gusset on the sides there to allow for the depth of the laptop. It's still, you really don't need much since fabric's flexible, right? It's nice and soft, and it will allow for larger things to be put in the pocket there. So we're going to tidy up some of those pattern things, and then we're going to work on this flap, because our original flap was going to sew into this seam back here, right here, so that it kind of snug over the bag. And we really like that idea because maybe it could prevent us from using a closure. But the thing we had designed doesn't really do that. So we played around with it a lot. If I were to sew this the way we designed it, it would be more like 5 pins? I don't have any pins here. Sorry. It would be more like this, and it just wasn't really, I don't know, it just wasn't really doing it. So I actually did a little bit more of what we're thinking here, like this. We're going to cut all that off. We're going to change the flap. I don't know if you can even see really how I'm doing this, but let's see here. There we go. So if it was more like that, you get kind of the snugging feature here, and we can even take even more out like that. And then if we make this deeper, we may be just overthinking this, and I think because the flap is so deep, hey Megan, it might not lend itself to this way of sewing it. That's just sometimes what happens. You know, you just got to kind of let it go and move on. All right, so I think the things I discovered sewing wise are things I can true up later on. I think there was something here, right? It was like remove 5/8 of an inch because these two pockets next to these didn't fit across the front. I mean, how are we feeling about these? Do they feel kind of big? I need an eyeglass case. Hey, Terry. Let me get my eyeglass case. Hey Cindy, how's it going? So if you're going to put your eyeglass case in this pocket, I mean, it fits really well. A few different styles would fit really easily, not hard to get in and out of here. This is very stiff. And I have one that like opens and closes. It would definitely still be in the same kind of profile, you know, area. So it would fit. And then my phone fits in here easily as well. But if there's anything you want to change on these pockets now, I mean, you know, I knew this would kind of happen where you can see you're facing right here in the opening. Maybe I just make the pocket deeper so it's sitting more like right down here. And if we did that, I was just about to draw on the back. Yeah, actually I'm going to draw on the back. So if we did that right here, we'd need to make that flap quite a bit bigger. Yeah, exactly, Leslie. I know, it's kind of, oh, nice, Helen. Nice to see you. Yeah, and maybe someone's not putting their eyeglasses in there. I think if the pocket flap is like that long, I kind of want to take this off and see. Why I don't have like sewing tools over here. Let me see if I can get a little bit of this going and we'll just rip it off. I think I double top stitched this though, didn't I? Let's see. It probably won't work. I can use the pattern piece instead. Let's see. Well, let's see what we really need. So if we really needed this to cover the stitching, it needs to be about right here, which is exactly where I just drew it. I'm kind of surprised by that. So we need to add quite a bit, you know? Yes, Leslie, it is very common. Very common indeed. I mean, there's ways you can, you know, the whole trick of being a good pattern drafter is the whole trick. That's like kind of a weird sentence. When last few places I got hired, they asked, how many revisions do you need to complete a pattern? Which is such a hard question to answer. And it's like, well, what's the pattern? You know, it just depends. I mean, if they already have a really great library of patterns and you're just generating really minor changes based on what they have, then sometimes there's no revisions, you know. But typically you're doing at least 2 to 3. And gotta remember, I worked in the outdoor industry. We would spend 9 months on a few patterns because they were so involved. So it just depends. A bag like this, yeah, I mean, because I don't have any other things I'm drawing on, and we're just we did this totally from scratch. then there's going to be revisions for sure. So yeah, I mean, the sewing went pretty good. I mean, it's not in person. It's not very well sewn as far as like the last parts, because remember we just kind of threw it together as raw edges here. But you really just need something so you can kind of start figuring out, is this what we want? So if there's anything you want to change, now's the time, right? So we have this 3-pocket thing going on here, which actually, I kind of like. I kind of like this detail going over the other pocket. It's kind of interesting, with the zipper on top. It doesn't feel stiff. It feels actually pretty cool. I think if this was, the fabric was configured well here, it would look a lot better, Yeah, exactly. How long is a piece of string? Exactly. Yeah. So I think really that question, how many revisions does it take for you to finalize a pattern? The trick to answering that question is how you answer it. It doesn't matter what you answer. It's how you answer it. So it's all on how you market your skills to someone, right? So, and like the last company asked me that, I actually remember it really well. And I remember thinking, what? I've never gotten that question. And they were asking someone who was coming from an extremely technical company going to fitness apparel. And fitness apparel to me was just like, it was like candy, It was like, technical apparel was like, I don't know, the kale and the, the really complicated baking recipes. It was like that health food and the, the really complicated, whatever. I don't know how to put it. And then I was going to like dessert, like, oh, okay, cool, let's do this. So, all right. So let's leave these for now. I think I've already been thinking about how I'm going to make this pattern when I hand it to you. And I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of people altering this to suit their own needs. And I've already been thinking about if someone wanted to scale this bag down, like we were talking about, like 80%. Let me show you what 80%, difference would be. Because see, right now it is about 17 inches across, right? So what is that? That's like, it's like 3 inches smaller. There you go, Helen. But cupcakes are kind of hard because you have to do individual cakes, I don't know. It was a bad analogy, but I think you guys get my drift. I was just kind of like, how many revisions? And you know what it told me? Honestly, I will tell you exactly the first thing that popped into my head when they asked me that was, oh, they're having a problem with their pattern drafter. Their pattern drafter is either they're not communicating well with them, or the person isn't able to get things done accurately, quickly. But when I inherited that job, in her defense, like everything looked pretty good. I think there was just kind of some sort of personality thing, You just never know, right? You just never know. Like her work looked okay. Nothing looked really crazy in the computer. And they were expecting me to find like a full-on mess. So I was like, yeah, it's not organized the way I would organize it, but that doesn't mean anything. So I didn't really defend her too much because they were kind of like wanting to feel justified in their decision. But at the same time, I was like, oh boy, this poor gal, Okay, so I think I had more issues with the interior of this. Like this sewed actually pretty good, but I don't like this pocket. So I asked my daughter for her laptop. Hers is a little bigger. And then she was like, why don't you just use yours? And I was like, oh, yeah, I have a laptop. I really don't really use it. I don't like a laptop. So this for me is just too big. And you guys were saying 15 by 10, right? Is the biggest one? 15 by 10? I can't remember now. But I think we can pivot some of this out, or leave the gussets at the bottom, but pivot a little bit out at the top. It's gonna stretch. But it's 15 for sure. And then the 1 inch depth, mine's about a little over a ½ inch. I think we'll be fine. And then it'll have this less of this, and then we're gonna add the water bottle pocket. So we just need to decide what we're gonna do here across this. And we're good to go. Oh, and our flap. The flap. The flap's kind of bumming me out. All right. Let's move the... Oh, look, I got some new things in the mail. So I got the Myosodus dress. Proud of me there. By Deer and Doe. And then I got this pinnacle top, which you really can't see. It's got the detail in the front there. It looks fun to sew. Yeah, exactly, Megan. And then I got some cotton lawn and then a knit. I'm going to make the Lucida dress by Friday Pattern Company out of this. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I just really like these colors, obviously, and I don't have enough of it in my life. So maybe, I don't think it's enough to do this dress, though. I bet this dress takes a lot of fabric. I actually meant to look. Yeah, it takes almost 4 yards of fabric if you have 44-inch wide fabric. So, yeah, add more batting. Yeah, or the stiff. You could do the stiffener. I think honestly, if it wasn't so floppy, the whole bag is going to be more structured. It's going to feel good. If the laptop is in there snug, it's going to give the bag a lot more structure. Do you, Megan? Are you making any of these things you keep getting? You're making your quilt though. Oh, I saw your cat fabric. That was pretty cute. Okay, so we have, I'm going to leave these pockets. We're going to make this flap bigger. So, let's see here. So it's like a full 2 inches bigger. And we can just do it at the top edge. I kind of like the little angle. Let's do this. No need to redraw that whole thing. Something like that. That's a pretty big flap. It's a pretty big flap, and it will actually, oof, now I'm having second thoughts. I never usually pick up my pattern pieces and cut them. That was kind of funny. So this means, like, if your flap was that low, that's kind of, I mean, do we really like the look of that? I don't think the big flap is going to be able to cover that. Nice, Helen. Yeah, see, I don't think your bag flap's going to be able to cover this. You've been sewing PJ bottoms and dresses. I've been sewing dog beds. Quilt squares. Oh, I feel like it's so random. I have kind of a long list of things I want to make right now, which feels kind of good, though. I felt like I wasn't really keeping track of all the ideas I had. I want to copy the car seat covers I bought and make natural fiber ones so they're not so not natural fiber, you know? And so that's something I might do with you guys too. Just copy them and I'm going to make them fit my seats better too. I think this is going to be too long. All I'm doing is trying to cover this up. So what if I just really covered this little thing here up by making it I don't think so, Helen. It depends. Are you going to do cartwheels? We talked about this. But you could put a little like tab, you know, instead of a flap, you could have a little tab right here. Like that. If the flap was contrasting fabric, it would be better. We're sticking out of the exterior flap. I know, right? Like you could just go for how different it looks. Right, Terry. That's awesome, Terry. I know sometimes those things like I was thinking all day, like, what am I going to do today? Like I knew what I needed to do, but I couldn't get any work done yesterday. And at 3 o'clock, I made a dog bed, made it a different shape, did the whole thing, finished it, stuffed it with all my fabric, and then took it home. Ellen. Oh, Megan, I know. Oh, a black Swiss top. Hi, Michelle. You have your fabric for the bag. Nice. That's awesome. We better get it done, huh? What if I don't have the facing seam? That's what I was thinking too a second ago. But we have this little curve here. You need to be able to finish it somehow. If you're into binding, then we can do that. Or lining the entire pocket. That is the other option. We could line the entire pocket. If you don't stitch it down, it'll flip up. You know? See, there's lots of ways you could do this. Hey, Brooke, how's it going? I went to FIDM, Michelle. The Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in LA. Great school. There's a lot of great schools, though. Especially now. There's a lot of great schools. Fully lined, Leslie. That's what I would do, too, probably. Helen, you're so funny. I think that's what I would say, too. Then we could just make this pocket maybe a little bit wider and longer. The flap, I mean. And then that way it'll just cover this little tip here. You know? Because even like a 1/4 of an inch width. Let's do that. You know? I like that idea better. I'm happy to see you too, Brick. All right. So let's do this a little bit wider. Still our first pattern. Yeah, so we'll fully line our pockets. Yeah, exactly, Leslie. It just takes more fabric. But you could line them with scrap. Yeah, Helen, right? I know. The facing is nice in that it uses less fabric, but it is a fiddly pattern piece to cut, and so in production. Yeah, exactly, Leslie. And that's the thing is, like, this is the kind of decision we would have made. We would have probably lined it as well, because keeping track of this little tiny pattern piece and cutting and sewing it is kind of a pain. Isn't that weird? But this would offer, it's fully lining it offers, you have less sewing because all you have to do is sew the top edge. You don't have to top stitch it, and then you're done. So rather than turning it under and edge stitching it, but people can do that if they want. Right? We can always include the facing. That's easy to do. All right, so now we have our flap. We took care of that. And I know that these together with this aren't fitting across the front properly. So let's just look at that and see what's happening there real quick. And then we'll get into some of our little engineering issues that we have to address. We need that. Our baffle pattern. Back. That top sleeve. We're definitely going to fix that puppy. All right. I'm going to leave that. We're going to leave this. I'm going to take that. I'm going to leave you there. We're going to use you. You. Definitely you. You are in the doghouse right now. You. And we're going to amend our gusset pocket. So we have that. And then we're going to change this. Lists are awesome. I should have been making one when I was sewing and I started it, but I kept getting sidetracked on it. So the list wasn't really productive. I brought it over here. In fact, I got it. And we had started writing a list, and it was remove the under pocket, and then we decided to add it back, and then I amended it. Remove 5/8 of an inch from the right hand edge of the angle pocket, and this is all I wrote. Right, Helen? You know, of course, it makes me less thick for domestic machine if you're using a facing. Yeah. Yeah, but not really. Because you're only going to add one layer to the bottom here. I think that'll be okay. I don't think we're really going to, we were too worried about thickness on this bag because we're trying to cut down on the binding. So hopefully that will help anyway, just for the sewing of it. Ensure success, right? All right, so you are in one naughty corner. You, and you can go over there. We need you guys. What happened? Oh, we need the gusset pocket, actually. All right, so if this is our pattern piece, it does go right there. It's about right there. Right? Pretty sure. And then we have right here. Oh yeah. Okay, so that is going over this halfway part here. And so, oh, and I added seam allowance to here. All right, there it is. We found it. Okay. So we need to cut off a 1/4 inch seam allowance on the side. Terry, what are you going to do with them? So I didn't understand. They looked more like how did it work? Did something come over it like this? Was it like the one on that bag we kind of looked at the flap design for? I won't laugh at all. I mean, I'm laughing, right? But I totally know. Sometimes I just got to do it to see what it's like, you know? And I'm not surprised. You're really into that kind of construction. So you're going to have to tell us what they're like. Okay, so let's take off our 1/4 inch. And I kind of want to take it off of the taller side. You know, that way we're not losing the height of the pocket over here. The shorter it gets, the less secure some of these angled pockets can get, you know. Let's take a 1/4 inch off all these edges. Sometimes when I'm flipping between using pattern pieces that have seam allowance and then doing the math without, I make mistakes like that. That's exactly what happened. Oh, okay. Yeah, because it looked like a nipple, and then I was wondering what the thing was that seated onto it. Nice, Megan. I know my friend was actually wanting some sidewalk chalk. I'm not sure why she wanted it. And she was saying, you know, she just did the whole big move to our area like a 1.5 years ago, right before the fire happened. And she was saying, you know, I'm really bummed that I got rid of that in the move. Oops. And I had done the exact same thing. I'd gotten rid of our sidewalk chalk too. Okay, this pocket's done. All right, so now we have this. If we're looking at these being going across the pocket here. No, I did need that. What's going on here? No, I did need that. All right, I'm just going to leave it anyway because we need to remove some anyway. All right, so this pocket, it sews like, right? So we have our seam allowance here. Our seam allowance there. And we need our seam allowance here and our seam allowance there. So right here is the finished width of our pocket, which is like a 4 1/8, 4 1/8, 4 1/8 plus the seam allowance. So maybe I did something wrong when we sewed it. We'll look at it closer. Thanks, Sherry. That Terry, that's genius. Hi, Karen. Oh, nice, Megan. What can you do with all those zippers? Oh, you bought their needle sharp. Finley's. What was your name again? Patty. How's it going? Oh, cool. Thanks, Brooke. Yeah, I saw they have that website was really cool. I don't know, Karen. I think Lynn did. Oh, that's right, because you had finished yours and you'd asked them if they'd finished or not. I forgot about that. And we didn't hear back, did we? I don't know. They haven't said hi if they are. They could be lurking, though. That's the funny thing on YouTube. You can't see who's watching, but you can on Twitch. It's kind of a complaint. You can't really lurk in a stream. You can, but, you know, people can see who's watching, which is kind of weird. So, okay, so we'll look at that across the width thing. I don't care if this is right in the middle, honestly. That doesn't bug me. This is too movable that it's not going to, you know. Hi, Sandy. You didn't miss anything. Megan, I want to do that this year, too. So, I think that'll be good, too. I like the idea of it. You haven't missed anything. We're just doing some pattern revisions of our prototype that we got almost all the way through on Saturday. And then we just kind of stopped because our flap wasn't working for us. Okay, so let's work on our naughty pockets that we have. That sounds kind of terrible, I know. So right now, this is constructed so that... well, by the way, you guys, I use this to take home all my stuff to sew at home, which I hate sewing at home, by the way. I'll just say that it kills my back because I don't have my sewing table here and I don't really want to deal with moving it, you know. But I put everything in here. I put like batting and some extra fabric. My little pattern pieces went here. Tools went in these pockets. The bigger pattern pieces, the document, like papers, went back here. This was actually really great for organizing a quilt project. So there you go. All right, so maybe let's work on the laptop sleeve first. All right, so you guys say 15 by 10, right, is the biggest? 15 by 10, right. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's getting a little ratty. I actually shaved it today because I hadn't done the little sweater de-pilling thing in a while. It's, and Loki, the little pug, was like, what are you doing? So it's it has a little pocket. Wait, it's right here. But yeah, you can see it's pretty pilly. This is why I don't wear things to work like this, because they get threads embedded. I made it a while ago. It's supposed to have 2 pockets, but I originally didn't even attach them both. And then I found them that I knit them and I didn't attach them because I was like, I don't need 2 little pockets right there, you know. I think all this yarn is knitted wit too. She's got such a great green. This green is so great. But oof, this sweater is looking tired. This isn't the best yarn for this particular sweater, I think. I don't know. All right, so 15 by 10, 15 by 10, going once, going twice. 17, okay. Okay, cool, Leslie. 17 inch, you're like lugging around a computer. I mean, a TV. The deer and doe dress. What? 15 by 10, thank you, by 1. Yeah, okay. All right, so mine is 13 by 9. So let's just say, let's see what this is. This is 12 by 9. So this is actually 3 inches too short, but it's a little thicker than that, you know? So let's just say it was 2 inches longer that way. I'm just not really that thrilled with how loosey-goosey this all is, you know? It's too loosey-goosey. Right? Look at that. So let's pivot that out. I think you guys are going to want a closure to your laptop. So it doesn't do this. That would annoy the heck out of me. I think that this is, yeah, that's almost an inch. So that's another thing that's making it go blurp like this, because our gusset at the bottom, right here. So let's look at it inside out. Can we do that? Yeah. It's gonna probably work better now that I do this, because so here we go. Here's the inside of our bag right now, right? So we have this laptop sleeve. We had our EpiPen pocket, our Precious pocket, and then these 2 extra little lined pockets. This was the divider that would go across the bag, and would have seated across the bag to get the water bottle pocket, right? So here is our laptop. Look at it. It looks way better in there once it's out of the bag's turned this way. So it's not going to work that way, though. We know that. But this is what I'm thinking, too, is this pocket could probably be raised a little bit. It does give it some, like this little edge right here, which is kind of nice, you know. But it's not really operating that way. You know, we didn't design it to do that. It's just kind of helping it do that. And so this, we can actually just cut this off and then center this pocket. We don't really need this, you know. And or we make it bigger. It goes all the way to here. Yeah, Barbara. Yeah. You don't think it needs gussets, Helen? I feel like, though, what happens is if you don't have the gusset right here, right, at the bottom here, what happens is this length right here, if this was flat, right, if this was flat like this, and you put in, and this whole thing was flat, what happens is it'll bow the back out. It makes the back kind of compensate, and it also makes this slip down like this. This is my experience. But I do think we should reduce it, you know? Yeah, I know, Megan. That's what we're talking about. And, you know, if you, what I'm thinking I would do actually, Barbara, is I would offer this pocket, and if you don't want to use a laptop in here, you can just use the pocket that we designed for the back, this one right here. On the inside, stitch it on there and then stitch it through. Does that make sense? So, I mean, look at this. This fits pretty darn good. Say it was 2 inches wider that way, right? Or longer. What did I say this book is? Yeah, so 3 inches would be right here. And there's still, you know, there's about a whole extra inch, which is going to help gusset it. Maybe, Leslie, but it's right now a shoulder bag. Yeah, right, Helen? That's what I'm thinking. I think that we pivot this out at the top a little bit. And the gusset is only at the bottom. See, because if I do this, you're going to have some, there's going to be fallout. So I'm just going to say, like, unless we were to really engineer this pocket and use the kinds of materials to make it like this articulated pocket that only holds your laptop, and then it's like this own little entity that you attach to your bag, which we're not going to do. That takes so much engineering and sewing, and people really probably aren't going to want to do all that work. Because if you start looking at laptop bags, some of those are heat welded to, they're welded together, not heat welded. Don't say heat. They're welded together with specialized machines, and they have these like molded, compartments, and we're not doing that, right? So we're just going to use what we can. And I think like if we get rid of some of this here, the only thing you're in danger of is that your bag can do this. If this is too short going across, right, like this, that's what we could do, right? We could just measure it like that and take out that amount, right? So I think we get rid of some of this pivoted out. And then I think if you want, if your laptop's a little small, you can decrease the depth of this right here. When you see pockets like this, you guys, if you want this less deep, like less going here, right here, this depth, if you want less or more, you can add to these three sides and it won't change how it sews into the bag. It's the exact same length. And that's the important part as a pattern piece going into the seam it's going into, right? So all you're doing is adding or decreasing to the depth of the pocket, which is sitting out front. Yeah. I was thinking that too, Patty, putting elastic there. It's getting a little thick for that. You guys can't feel it because we have the batting in here, quilting cotton, and canvas. I don't think it'll, in other words, you could put elastic in there, but I don't think it'll cinch. I think it'll just go. All right, so let's pivot this out. And I'm thinking I'm going to pivot out 2.5 inches. And I'm actually going to do it in 3 places. I'll do it here. I should measure this, but I'm going to true the pattern probably on my own so I can focus and make sure it's correct. This is quick and dirty. Finding my 3 spots. All right, so we have one here. Here. And here. You got to remember my experience with bag making isn't making ones with laptops, so I have to think about this. I'm not sure I want to go. I still need that length. No, I need this length. No, I want to go through. That's what it is. Okay, I want to go to the seam line. Seam line, of course. Pretty sure. I have to think about that. Let's see. Okay, Ellen. With the yeah, that's true, Brooke. That's a good idea. Like kind of like a bungee. I actually like that idea a lot. Those are pretty easy to do too. All right, so we're gonna pivot out our 2.5 inches, which is like what, 3/4? 3/4 would be 1.5. That's 2 1/4. So something like between 3/4 and 7/8 of an inch. We're gonna take out. So we'll do about right here. And the vinyl in the bottom, vinyl you can use as a stiffener. I think it's pretty good way to use it up in a way. This is kind of interesting. I feel like I'm not thinking of something right now, but that's okay. Sometimes you just got to do it to find out what's not working. Performance pattern drafting was never in my class list. Okay, my husband and my daughter have now both called me. Did anything happen in the world, you guys? Oops. Let me just slap this tape on here. Sorry, guys. This is a second. All right, so now we have this like pocket. You can see now I have this nice gentle curve here that we're going to smooth out eventually. So let's see how it looks when we kind of fold it right here, like this. I think this is pretty nifty. I think this will work. All right. Okay, Leslie, thanks. Toggle hooks. What are toggle hooks? Brooke, do you still have my husband's number? Can you text him? He can text me if it's an emergency. They know what vet we go to if it's a pet thing, so. All right. I like this. I like this, yeah. It's not perfectly symmetrical, but it'll be okay for our prototype. All right, cool. So we have our laptop sleeve, which means now that we've pivoted this out, we need to accommodate these pieces right here going on top of that, right? Because these didn't get pivoted. We don't need to pivot these. That'll be fine. They can be straight. We can leave this. I thought that was my laptop and then I dropped it. Oh, like on the cascade. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, right, Megan. I get you. I get you. Yeah, both Cricket and Michael just called me, which is really weird. Back to back. So I don't really know what that's about. Okay, so all these guys can go over here. I feel like I'm avoiding the flap a little bit because I think it's gonna give us bad news. Your cat is yowling at your screen door. Oh. Okay. So now we have our interior pockets. We're going to get rid of this divider for the water bottle pocket and fix it to the side. Now, it's not going to be a pocket that you can put things in without things slipping underneath. I hope that's okay with you guys. What I'm thinking of doing is just literally putting a piece of fabric, you know, I don't have a pattern piece for the baffle, but it would basically be a pattern piece that just was a piece of fabric like this. It went like this, no bottom to it, right? Just something to corral your water bottle and keep it. Yeah, right, Leslie? I know, right? Sometimes my husband does watch. Oh, it's okay, Brooke. Don't worry about it. I just texted them. He would text me back if it was something and just say, yeah, no worries, or yeah, we're going to the vet. That's what I think. I think it's got to be pet related. Okay. I'm just thinking like this. And you could make it as big as you want. That way you can accommodate your water bottle. Because it would just be something that you could make longer, right? You could even make it out of knit fabric to make it less fabric overall. And then that would hold it too. That's another thing. You just gotta remember that when you put it there, if it's really tight, it's going to pull, it's actually gonna push out the sides of your bag. All right, so we're gonna send this across a little bit, and then we're gonna do our water bottle pocket, and then we're gonna do our flap. All right, okay, good. Okay, so here is our laptop sleeve here. This is our pocket. So I think we should just leave this as is. Maybe I will follow the silhouette of this now. So let's get rid of this guy here. This little flappy do here. There we go. And then we're going to do the reverse. We're going to like make this one bigger. Maybe more lockdown. Yeah, that's not going to change. Let's have a couple straps of webbing or wide elastic for the water bottle pocket. My problem with elastic or webbing is it can be a little fiddly, but we could use it, if you're thinking of it as closures, I think that's a great idea. Aiming your bottle in a piece of elastic or something is a little trickier than it sounds. And also, if there's not two of them or a few, if you only have one, it can pop out or slip under. You know what I mean? So it does need to be kind of like a sleeve, something wide that can go around your bottle. It's going to be kind of, look at that. Like that would be a pretty big bottle, but still, it's going to have to be kind of big to hold one, All right. Let's just look at this here. Maybe I'm going to retrace this. Am I going to retrace this? Yeah, I'm going to retrace this right now. The hooks that on backpacks, needs a straight jacket. Exactly. The hooks that are on backpack drawstring. Oh, do you mean like the little, the barrel clasps? The ones that you squeeze? That's an idea. Those aren't great for hands with arthritis, but they are pretty affordable. Okay, there's I'm just going to mark my center. And lay it on here like this. I can't get it to fold flat, so understandably, it's too much paper. Thought that would help, flipping it over. I know this piece of paper will fit. Do you ever get hell-bent on something like that? You're just like, okay, this is the piece I'm using. I know it'll fit. Okay. Oh my gosh, Megan. You don't get how that sleeve... Oh, Leslie, I'm going to secure it in the baffle. The sides of the bag. It's just going to go in the seam of the perimeter of the bag. I'm not going to do anything too fancy with it. I've done that before with other bag, like my own purse. I've tried having a purse before. I'm like, maybe if I make a purse to fit my things, I'll use a purse, and I, still don't stick with a purse. What you're seeing me get stuff out of over there is a basket. I like a bucket, and I don't know why, because it's so aggravating to get everything out of it. A D-ring clip. Oh, yeah, one of the... Yeah, but, then you have to aim your bottle in there. Don't you think that would be fussy, Sherry? All right. Let's see my terrible handwriting when I'm in a hurry. All right, so now we have, I hope this pocket works because I really love the shape of it. This is more like 1.5 inches deep. Did we do that on purpose? Right? Oh no, it's like 1.25 inches deep. Oh, I see. And so it would stay on there and then you clip it in. Oh, I like that. That's a good idea. I kind of want to take out the depth, but at the same time, when that book is in there at 1 inch, it actually does fit okay. And it's probably because we added 2 layers of fabric with the batting and the lining. That's going to take up some of your depth. So I think I'll just leave it for folks if they really want to. They can add or take away from the depth of this pocket. You can't go overboard, but you can do a little, you know, a little bit of customizing for your setup. I don't actually go anywhere with my laptop or even my iPad, but I would use this for other things. Yeah, Sherry, that's an interesting idea. Like if you guys made yourself a little sleeve for your water bottle, then you could just clip it to a D-ring at the top of your bag, you know, like right at the top there. And then your water bottle would stay over there. And as long as it can rest on the bottom, it's not going to cave your bag in, you know? I like that, Sherry. Very clever, very clever. Okay. All right, so now we have our little cord pocket thing here. And we're looking for something about not 11.5. But 7.5 tall. So let's see here. I didn't transfer my center line. Where is it? I'm really distracted these days, you guys. You're not getting me at my best. Let's see here. All right. I think I'll make it 1/4 inch narrower than the pocket. No, I don't need to do that. We don't need that. We don't have edges. Okay, we're okay there. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this out as is and then add my pocket style lines. Sherry. Okay. I need to pull that in now. So here's our cord. Oh yeah, and it's a cord pocket. Right. Now I love the idea of a cord pocket. You guys are so smart about that. Yeah, okay, here we go. Cool. Okay, I want you guys to all start thinking about the overall flap too. We're gonna have to really think about that. This isn't very symmetrical yet, but it will be, I promise. All right, so for the EpiPen, The middle line is actually the size of this EpiPen pocket. So maybe we'll just make this really straightforward in that we will just sew straight down the middle to separate our pockets. That way it's not some, like, what if you cut it upside down? You don't have to worry about it now. We'll just notch that, and that actually simplifies things a little bit. Where's my red Sharpie? Oh, here it is right here. And then we're gonna cut one for the smaller, shorter version. I'm hoping I have a smaller piece of paper, but I guess not. What's the height of this? 5. All right. I love it when the pockets have kind of an organic shape, or anything has some kind of angle to it, you know? A gathered flap. I think we did think about something like that, didn't we? So that, yeah, that's fuller. That's so funny you say that, because I've been, like, one of the little things I've been trying to challenge myself with lately is designing fabric, and I finally have a way to do the repeats that actually works every time and makes sense to me, and I can remember how to do it, and you know, it's awesome, right? It's coming up with, like, the imagery. I'm not very good at stuff like that, drawing and stuff like that, but right before the stream I was actually, and I've been working on a design based on this game I play with some, like, friends, right? And so, but the imagery for that game isn't very fabric, you know, oriented. So today I was making a couple of little like thumbnails to share with my friends, because one of the sayings in the game is endure and survive, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do this for them, they'll think this is cute. And there's a really great scene with a giraffe in it, so I put, like, a mama and a baby giraffe, and I put endure and survive, and then I was thinking, what am I doing? I need to get ready for the stream. I'm sitting here making really bad thumbnails for people I don't even know, so right, exactly. That's right, Sherry, she does. I mean, you've got to be inspired by something to be able to do that, right? So otherwise it's hard to motivate. But it was kind of fun. I was like, oh, this is something I don't mind doing. All right, so we have our cord pocket, epi pocket, precious. They're both precious here. And we don't really have right now any guidelines on here on sewing this. It's just like kind of like that. So what we could do at least is give ourselves maybe some drill holes right here. The reason I don't have it going into the sides here is twofold. One, it will add extra thickness to this seam, which is the perimeter of your bag right here, right? It's this right here. And you can already see it can get a little thick, right? The other reason is it makes your pockets bend around something, and it does make it fussy to get stuff out of them. So, oh, that's so cool, Sherry. That's so cool. That's so fun. Yeah, I've been playing around with Procreate on my iPad, but it just makes me go back to the Photoshop, the little bit of Photoshop I know, because I can't figure out how to, like, oh, I'll do a whole layer, and I can't just recolor the whole layer in Procreate. I don't know why I can't figure out how to do that. So, Or maybe you just can't. That's the conclusion I'm coming to. All right, so now we're to our flap. We haven't done the water bottle pocket yet, but just don't let me forget it. All right, here's our flap right now. Looks so good, didn't it, to begin with? Here's our bag. Let's put it right side out again. Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh, let's see. Did I just do that wrong? I did something wrong here. Here it is, yeah. I just mean, what do they call in home sewing? Hi, Malin. Just a hole, just a hole to like the end of a dart. What's that called? Like a punch mark, so that you have a guide. That's all. I call them drill holes. It's just how I call it. Okay. Here's our flap. Here's our failed flap. So I think we're going to have to lose the angle, you guys. But I think we could still do something interesting on it by like putting the zippered pocket on it that we talked about. Do you guys want to look at the sketch? So that little, on the top, the flap there, you see how there's that little like zippered pocket? We could add that. Or we could go back to doing some sort of, I just had that. Here it is. Wait. You guys see it? Oh, they're right here, Okay. You know how we talked about doing like, maybe like we could do a little shaped flap like this? Or, we kind of talked about lots of different ones. Dots, okay. Thanks, Barbara. They use a drill, and they used to use a drill specific for fabric. When they would layer the fabric, they had this it was like a needle that would punch a hole all the way down through the stack of fabric, drilling it. Yeah, right, Melon? Yeah. Barbie, you didn't have to retract that. So we're looking at now kind of our flap. When I look at things like this, I kind of think why that didn't really work. We wanted kind of a box function. Would we like using that? I think when we do the prototype, maybe we should do a couple styles. Because what if it was this kind of box thing? Like this. Right? Why don't I have any pins over here? Oh, no, you were right. I think you're right. It's just like dots. Oh, here, I do have pins. I have pins. Yeah, you can use well, home sewers just mark it with chalk because it's kind of risky to drill a hole in the middle of your fabric just in case you need to move the thing. Yeah, I use a screw punch. I use one of these when I'm really confident and I know. I use one of these things, which actually makes a hole. And I actually don't recommend you go out and buy one of these to do that for your home sewing. It's a little over and above. It's like an expensive tool. It's not intended for fabric. It's intended for paper making and stuff. I know fabric, like people who sell tools directed at sewists sell these, but it really isn't meant for fabric. And these tips are kind of expensive to replace. I used it. I have one of these from pattern drafting because if I were to do a dart in the middle of something, and I needed that hole right there, I can't use this, right? Because I can't get that far in. Plus, that's too big of a hole. It's not accurate enough. And if I use an awl, the problem with an awl is that if you poke a hole in paper, you know, like with an awl, I don't have an awl over here. What do I have? What do I have? This is hard lead. This might work. So if I poke a hole with an awl, it's not a very accurate hole, and it also can get sealed back, right? There would be no pencil lead there, right? So then it looks invisible because standard pattern drafting markings don't do this plus sign here. I learned this at an outdoor company because they absolutely did not want their drill holes to migrate around on the pattern piece. They were extremely specific and accurate to what they were doing, and they were using fabric that was $45 a yard. So they really needed that to be spot on. And if the paper pattern eventually was used so much that maybe this ripped, or the Sharpie ink that we used to mark the hole kind of made it wet and started making it disintegrate, we had this crosshatch. Even if all of this was gone, we had this crosshatch to locate the center of the marking again. And so I use this because it's a far more accurate way to get that little hole in there in the middle of your paper than using an awl. That's the only reason I have that tool. We ended up using it to mark the drill hole on two of our products at Chicken Boots. One was the accordion because it had a tack button with a piece of elastic that closed the thing. So we can talk about doing that too. Oh shoot, I just got a call from the vet. Now I'm worried. Aww. No. Not the pets. Sorry. Now they're calling me. Okay, Michael says they got it. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. It's okay. He says they've got it. All right. Okay. Thanks, Lisa. How's it going? We're talking about drill holes, and I don't care about drill holes right now. Let's just talk about the flap. Okay. So yeah, so I'm thinking, what if we look at something like this where it actually fits? Take the call. I know, you guys. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. You want to know what it is? All right. Yeah. Well, we'll text him in a minute and ask, but we'll let him talk to them first. I have a feeling it's one of my cats. He's been like acting kind of different lately, and we kind of all noticed it, you know. So what if it was like this? It fitted over it. I feel like this is really fussy. Because every time you want to take off your flap, it's going to sit back here like this, right? As like a little bucket. You know? But you would be able to put it over your bag. And it would probably, oh my God, that's not him, don't worry. Then you wouldn't have to have a closure, you know, down there. Okay. I think you know, when you have the thickness of a flap, or of the bag, if you have a flap going over it, right? What you lose is securing this edge right here. Right, Brooke? I know. Well, you know, it's funny because Senor has been getting kind of thin lately, and that's not like him. But at the same time, we don't know a whole lot about Senor. And he still eats and he's still around and everything, but he's getting a little thinner. And I was like, maybe he's older than we thought. So I've been kind of keeping an eye on him. But also, like, he's been doing the hairball thing. And I thought, you know what? It's because we changed the food. Because he was on prescription food only because Haku was on prescription food and he had to eat it too. And I've just been wanting to take him off the prescription food, but it's been years. And I'm like, maybe it's the food, you know? Like everything. Okay, so Leslie, if you drawstring it up, what happens is you have a long tail of your drawstring hanging out. All right, wait, he texted. He said they had the wrong number. Yeah, they had my number. All right, he's texting. I'll bet they took Senor, maybe. Not the pug. The pug's expensive. Oh. One of them got stung by a bee. I'll bet it was Loki. Here's my public service announcement for anybody thinking pugs are so cute that you need one. You do. I will say that right off the top, that Loki has added so much to our lives. He actually really did a lot of really good things for our family. But don't go into having a pug or a dog like that with a squished face without some research. Because that little guy, man, he snuffles everything. We call him the truffle hunter. He just gets into trouble. He ate a poisonous bug right after we got him. He has a moderately collapsed trachea just because of their breeding. He sometimes gets so overheated that I have to take him and put him in the shower because he can't breathe. You know, like this little guy, man, he is just loving life and has no clue. And of course, he got stung by a bee now. You know, so anyway. I'm really glad Senor's okay though. I know, right, Terry? I've never been stung by a bee. Poor guy. He probably ate something. Or he probably was too curious. I've seen him like go after mosquitoes and flies. So, all right. It's just a bee sting. I'm so relieved. Okay, thanks you guys. All right. Let's design the best flap ever. All right, so if we have this flap coming over the bag, so this is our box idea, right? This is what I'm calling over-engineered, but I love the idea. All right. That's right, Brooke. He saved her with the EpiPen. That's right. It's so funny when he said that. It sounded so familiar. But Maria, have you guys seen Maria in the chat? Her handle is A Needle Runs Through It. She's an incredible sewist, y'all. She has 2 pug puppies. Oh my gosh. The EpiPen could have killed her. Oh my God. And the bee could have too. Oh. Yeah. All right, so here we go. The flap. So now, usually a messenger bag, the flap just comes straight across, right? Straight across. Let's pretend this is a piece of fabric, and this is the flap. And then you have this little thing right here going, unless you make your flap a little bit bigger. So we're just trying to kind of combat that, right? So we could kind of cinch it along the sides. Hey, Leslie, what do you think of the idea if there was just some elastic on the side, cinching it? I kind of like that idea. That's one thing we could do. We could just gently do this, right? So what if it was just a little bit, like what if this was flat, right, on the sides, and we just kind of gently scrunched it up with elastic. Not too much. I thought my phone lit up. Oh yeah, it looks like it could hurt. It really hurts. My uncle was really deathly allergic to them, and I've known a lot of people to be. I've never been stung by one, so I don't even know. But I'm not worried about it. Yeah, right? What if that was like, what if it was like that, Leslie? So we have our flap coming across like that. This kind of looks cool. Let's lighten this up a little bit. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too, Brooke. Because no matter what, you're going to probably occasionally overfill it, right? Like, especially if you've got like all your stuff in there, and then you just need to put like 4 more things in there to get between the car and the house. You could just keep the flap open, but what if then you're carrying a kiddo or a bag of groceries or whatever, you know? So let's see. Here's the pattern table. Let's see. I'm just going to brighten this up a tiny bit. Sorry, Megan. Your eyes! What if we did this? What if the flap just came down, just normal, but on the sides we did this little gentle like pleating or elastic, so it's like this. And then the bag, the flap just comes down. Let's get a bigger piece of fabric. No, you'll get mad at me if I use that. Let me find a... I'll just use this. Oh, you guys, I just wanted to remind you guys that there are a few free patterns on my website if you're looking for something to do that are like no obligation. You can sign up for my newsletter, and you can just unsubscribe afterward if you're just like, you're just trying to get my email. Just do it. You get 2 patterns in the welcome email, so make sure you do those. Download them first before you unsubscribe. And then there's 2 others on the website, and 3 of the 4 are really great gift things. I think I'm going to start thinking about, I don't really have a lot of extra free time right now. Like life is kind of continuing for me as it normally would. But I was thinking it would be a really great time to promote making gifts to stash. You know, like holiday gifts, birthday gifts, just make things that could work for lots of people, like the dish carriers and the oven mitt. The boxy bag is on Patreon, so that's not free technically. And then the Notions case is a free one that comes in the newsletter. That is a great gift for other sewists, and you can kind of scale it up and make it bigger or smaller. And then like making the closet case poof, I'm going to do a few of those as like poofs and dog beds for folks, you know. I think that would be kind of, I wouldn't mind coming to October and having a bunch of things that were made already, you know. And you could use stash fabric, you can make them scrappy, you know, you could do, if you have the time. Not everybody has this extra time. We're taking care of kids or obsessing on the news. Stop doing that if you're doing that. But maybe it's a good time to kind of try that. All right, I'm just going to do a generic flap shape, all right? And then we're going to just, maybe we put in the pleats permanent. You know? Or maybe, you could support, another good thing is you could support the farmers at farmers market by buying a lot of something and then maybe making something you can right now, you know? We went to the farmers market on Saturday. They had like the one we get chicken from. She let us she asked for people to like hold them and then she could meet you. All right, so at the risk of sounding kind of stereotypical, I do feel like this has the risk of being feminine in some people's eyes. or maybe just too stylized is what I'm thinking. All right, so let's put this here. My pin game is all over the, oh, I hate to see it. Okay. Yeah, right, Terry? And wouldn't you be, like, this is literally the time to be kind to your future self. I love you all, right? So be kind to your future self and do some of these things, right? Keep yourself busy if that's what kind of keeps you sane. And then you'll be so happy when you have some of these gifts all done, you know? Even if they're small and easy or quick or big and involved, you know? Use your stash or shop from fabric stores that are still shipping. Some aren't. All right, so maybe one more, maybe just a little, like one of those little right angles right there. We're draping a flap. I don't think I've ever draped a flap before. Actually, I take that back. I'm sure I have. All right. So see, Brooke, we won't do the huge boxy thing. We'll just do a little tiny box. Oh, wait, I got an update from Cricket. Getting a couple of shots, and he's good to go. No EpiPen needed. He's got a fat lip, though. Ha, 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 ha. All right. It might not, Leslie, and that's why I was thinking, what if this were just elasticized? And then it could stretch over, maybe? Okay, it'll be a little stiffer. All right. Let me market this better to you guys here. It's all marketing, right? The flap over here is too big. So let's cut it down a little bit. And then let's I'm not dead set on this yet, but I want to try it. All right, so if it were a regular old flap, right, it would just kind of come and straight down. Totally fine. The world has accepted flaps doing this, right? Right? See? Right? And then we have this side that has a little bit of the gentle pleating, or maybe it's elasticized and gathered. Let's see how this one is. I can do something right and left-handed, right? Okay. Or not. Poor Loki with the fat lip. I'm sure that bee warned him. I think that's more pronounced than you would like, but elastic would probably be a little more subtle. Is that what you're about to say? Yeah, they're watching. Hi, Michael and Cricket. You guys can say hi. The whole chat was like, they could just come in the stream and tell us what happened. They're all worried, you guys. You guys with their back-to-back phone calls with no text before. Still a mom here, you know. Or binding or facing it. I think that's more pronounced than I would like, but an elastic or binding or facing that flap. Okay, Patty. Yeah. All right. I think I get you. All right. So now it's not really that wide enough. It's not symmetrical, but we're just kind of working on it. Yeah, and I'm just thinking like a little bit of elastic there. Just subtly kind of hug it. And then maybe a closure. I feel like we're still getting too clever for this, but I am kind of interested in coming up with a different flap design. This one works a little better because I think it's lower. They can't remember their Google sign-in, so they can't talk. How many times have I told you all? You need a YouTube channel, which is an account. My own family doesn't know. It gets rid of, like, this one right here, it doesn't have that little, like, whoop-de-doo here that I'm getting, you know? I don't know. I don't want it to look like a diaper butt. It's looking like a diaper butt to me. But I know this fabric is, like, not very attractive for it. Oh, we got a Loki picture. Let's see if we can look at it on camera. Oh, look at that little lip. Poor Bubs. It looks like he's got a jawbreaker in his mouth. Man. Okay, so this is one idea. Okay. Here's one idea. All right. Throw this kind of away. Leslie. Well, you know what, Leslie? It will be a video. It'll be a live video that I'll upload. I'm not going to do the whole shebang I did with the project bag. I don't know if you have that pattern of mine with the pattern, the video that you can watch on Vimeo. It won't be that, like, you know, it doesn't look like, okay, cool. All right, so the other idea we were having with this boxy side, I still think there's some promise here. You know, I think I'm just getting hung up on the little whoop-de-doo, these little flappy things. You know? Let's drape one more flap. There's going to be a lot of options. I think that, I think it's going to be kind of a big task to do the pattern and stuff, but at the same time, I'm kind of into this process too, so it's fine by me. I think I'll probably have it so that you could make a full size one with the full size laptop, and then the one without a laptop or a smaller size version. Because I know Nancy was interested in like an 80% size version, or maybe an 85%. It gets start scaling down quick. And I think that's what I'll do is I'll probably focus on having some options, but I won't have all the options. It just gets a little too much. All right, so I'm going to drape this other flap. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this little fold here. So I'm thinking that if we still have one of the boxes, the other side of this is so much more attractive. I don't know why oh, well, it doesn't really show up. All right, so we'll sew this here. There we go. All right, so let's see, how can I make this work? Let's do it over here now. I'm actually hungry today, which is so weird. I usually don't really get hungry during the stream. I can tell I might be, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm really hungry, you know? right, so we have our 2 boxes here. Let's see if we can make this work. Okay. We'll just put this in a few places. I wish I wasn't using these pins. All right, so now we have this boxy look right here. It looks great from the back, right? Nice and clean. We just have this kind of whoop-de-doo going. And if our bag gets kind of full, it's going to pull on the flap, right? The flap has to be a little bit longer. I think I have to let that go. I'm going to let go of this little point coming out here. You know? When you're wearing it, that's probably not going to show up much. Especially if it's fuller. It could be a little longer. We could probably still get the angle. If this was a little longer, we could kind of go up and get a little bit of the angle that we had before. Oof. That's a big oof. I don't really like that. No, maybe this idea is just not... Let's get this lower. Like this. How's this one? Remember we tried that, Patty? I like that idea, but we are then creeping back into that like boxed finish. Right, Sherry? That's what I think too. I think I'm overthinking it. You know, I feel like I think what I'll do is do 2 flaps, but one is like totally full on vanilla flap. You know, classic messenger bag style flap. Right? And the other one. Because see, look, when it's like that, it just goes off to the side and it stays seamless. If this was down here, not cut out. Yeah, that's why. It doesn't do that whoop-de-doo because it just sticks out from the sides of the bag. Yeah, exactly, Leslie. The little look hole. I like that. Yeah. You know? I know, it's hard to imagine, but looks like a brown paper bag right now. All right. All right, so we need to do that and then just the water bottle corral. I meant to bring one today for this. Okay, so I'm going to add a little paper to this one and just use it. me hang up some of these pattern pieces. I'm gonna jiggle the camera. Sorry, guys. So let's kind of go by this. I think we could make this same depth and the same width, you know? I'll use this piece here as our starter. That's the wrong grain line of the paper. Bummer. Just going to take up as much of this as possible, and it's going to be our prototype. I think I'll make it a little bit longer, but not much. All right, vanilla flap. Should have stapled those together. It's easier to get it symmetrical. Yeah, exactly, Patty. I totally agree. And you know, I think honestly that works because the flap is really short, you know, and it's a smaller bag. But once you start adding extra fabric, it's kind of like this exponential thing starts happening. All right, so this is our vanilla flap. That's a lot of fabric, you guys. Vanilla flap. I said fabric. Okay. Now you know why I have that bin of all those weird things that are just plain old weird, you know? Sometimes you just gotta like try it, and then you just gotta keep it so you don't do it again. Okay, so now we have this one here. I really turned that under, didn't I? What did I do here? I did that. So this is the seam right here. Okay. But why is this turned under? Is it just me trying to get rid of some volume? All right, so we're gonna kind of notch where we want that elastic to end. Oh, and we need to know how long it needs to be. Okay. 3 inches. Ah, okay. Thanks, babe. That's my husband, you guys. So what happened? Did he, like, was he in the yard and he just bit a bee? You know, that happened to my friend Maria. Remember I showed you pictures of her, like, baby pugs? He almost died. They had to give him an EpiPen and it saved him, even though that probably wouldn't have been the good thing to do. Good thing they had one. You know, I bring any of my other pets to the vet and they're just like, oh, hey, how's it going? I bring Loki in and they're just like, so what have you gotten into this time? Have you eaten any poisonous bugs? You know, do you need a respirator? You know? He hasn't been on a respirator, you guys. I'm just exaggerating, but, you know. Okay. Oh. Yeah, I think so, Patty. Really, Lisa? Oh my god. Near the pool, snuffling the ground, came in front of me. Oh my gosh. He's a snuffler. Was your dachshund okay, Lisa? I'm gonna draw a straight line. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm definitely freewheeling it there. Because I really just want to get to the point where we can make our next prototype. We've made a few changes, so. He's spoken though there, yeah. I mean, they're close to the ground. I mean, someone said to me, I think Kirby said it, she's like, it's like having a permanent toddler. And it is. It's like, I feel like all of us ask him at least twice a day each, what do you have in your mouth? What do you have in your mouth? What are you eating? What are you eating, Loki? What do you got in your mouth, Loki? We all ask that like twice each a day. So he's getting asked 6 to 10 times a day probably. You know? Everything goes in the mouth. All right. So this is like a 1.5 inch thing here. We'll try this. We were close on our original flap there. We just made it a little too big. And the angle doesn't work with this style. I think you're right, Patty, you know? All right, so and then we're going to have this little notch to indicate the elastic. And that it needs to be about 3 to 4 inches finished. All right. The diaper butt flap. Just kidding. And then this way we have that kind of gather idea. I think that was Leslie had without using a drawstring. Because drawstrings, when they're cinched, you have the long string to deal with. Right, Michael? Exactly. Yeah. Was he okay? Like, was he staggering? Was he just in pain? Was he just kind of perplexed? Oh my God, that guy. Oh, Cricket sent another picture. Let's see what it is. Oh, he's on Molly's bed, you guys. I'll show you the other picture I took of Molly's bed today. That was him before bee sting. She was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I lay on the couch in the real bed. I don't know what that dog stuff is. So. Oh no, Barbara. Alright, so we don't need this one. We're just gonna set it aside in the recycling bin. He was stunned, yeah. You lost 6 slices? Holy, do you have a little dog? It's a lot of bread. She was ready to drink that bottle of wine eating all that bread. Okay, so, we need the water bottle pocket is our last thing. So let's see here. And then we'll be ready. I think I will cut this one out. on my own, I don't really want more than one of these streams to go voted to cutting. It's kind of, I know it's not the most entertaining. And this way, this little, it's not really a pocket. I'm just going to cut 3 sides of it and then determine the length of it. I'm glad the vet's open. Okay. What'd I do with that clean canteen? Let's see. Ooh, this might be good. Okay. So this is what I'm thinking. Right? But the bottle will be taller. Oh, we just cut the crust off. I'm not like grossed out by very much. It's funny. The things that gross me out are like when someone puts their bag on the counter, because I'm like, ew, I don't know what's on our counter getting on your bag, and ew, what's been on your bag getting on my counter. But the 5-second rule, I live by that. So, all right. So if this is the side of our bag, right? This would just be like a little corral that you can just plop your bottle in. I think it'll actually be up higher on the bag like this. So I think that, and then this is the beauty about this kind. If you don't need to use your pocket, or you need the whole bag to be devoted, this can just flatten in the bag. You know, like it's just a piece of fabric. It'll just flatten up. So it's very simple. But that's what we're kind of going for at this stage. Right? And then if your bottle is bigger or a lot skinnier, you could make this piece, you know, bigger or smaller. It'll be up high in the bag like this. Maybe I would make it a little bigger. I'm just thinking it will attach inside here like this. In that seam. And then you can just put your bottle in there. You know? And then if you're not using it, it just gets mashed to the side of your bag. Right? Keeping it simple. Okay. Anything else? We're lining that now. We did make our pocket a little wider. I'm feeling good. Oof. Okay. I'm feeling pretty good about this one, guys. And then I think what I'll do is, oh, and so what I was saying earlier too, like say you don't have a laptop and you don't want as big of a bag, you can make this bag the same size and just use this pocket right here on the inside if you want, not this. And you can attach this to this one or just this one, and you can even put it up higher. There's options there. You don't have to have this. This can be its own little thing. And then if you wanted it a little smaller, what I'm thinking is we can make it so that you can just make the bag with just one of these and these, just these, and maybe a smaller pocket like this. And same with this, you can just cut this down, right? Just cut it down and then make it smaller. So I think that this has some options, and I'll walk you through them when we're to that point of finally sewing it. We'll probably do like a 2-part stream with the sewing so that I can give you lots of different ideas and options. It's kind of infinite. You got to kind of eventually just kind of narrow it down so that you don't get bogged down with all the details. It's really easy to do and really easy to over-engineer and get yourself into a point where you're like, okay, this bag has taken me 15 hours to sew and figure out, and it's too heavy to carry with my stuff in there. So, no, Patty, we're not going to forego that, but I think maybe I'll do it on one of these on the next prototype. We could do that. Because I think that's pretty it wouldn't be too hard. I think right about here, we'll do it right here. Like this. We'll do it at a little angle. We'll do it. I'm right-handed, so we'll do it right here. If you're left-handed, you can flip it. This little width of this welt, it does matter for your zipper tape width. Sorry, I'm not completing my thought right now. Just kind of measuring. But like my zipper that I've been using for these is a little too wide for what I just made there. But yeah, and then we could have just like a little pocket there. I think this could go up maybe a little bit more. Let's just make this an inch up. The Lego bag. Yeah, and you guys, we really do need a title. And I know you guys want to come up with some sort of quarantine related one. And it's your bag. You can do whatever you want. But I think that eventually that's probably not going to be, you know, it's going to be like, why is it called that? And then what I would do is stitch around the pocket. Keep the stuff that's in there confined to this little corner. But this would be a great place for your keys or your phone or whatever. This is really easy to sew, by the way, because I'm not going to do a fully lined and faced welt pocket. You can do that. But the way I'm going to show you how to do it is by really we're going to cut this hole and turn it back, and then we will just place the zipper behind it and top stitch around it. And then because the flap will be lined and it'll have the outer, you'll just need to stitch around it. It's a very simple way to do it. So there are a lot more complicated ways to do it. So we have our welt. It's just really a way to cut a hole. If you've never done a welt but you've sewn a bit, this won't be hard. Don't worry about it. I promise. Like, it really is pretty simple. It's like the easiest way to sew a welt. It's not even, I wouldn't even call it a welt anymore. It's too easy. Okay. In fact, once you sew something like this, you're going to want to add this little pocket to a lot of things. The way we're going to do it. It'll be great. So, you want options? I like that. I give you options. So, yeah, start thinking about your your bag, because that title I keep putting on there is really long. What is it, like the consensus so chat bag? But you guys had some good ideas that first day. Now I don't remember what some of them are. The diaper butt bag? No, just teasing. Yeah, it's your bag. You want options. I like that. You want options bag? Yeah. We could call it that. All right. So I'll see you tomorrow. I think I'll spend the day cutting this out. And maybe I'll do it in a little bit nicer fabric combination just in case. You know? Right now, the way... I'm not going to let this scare me. People will be like, what's that word? I don't even know what that is. So right now, the way you're going to have to finish these edges is either by serging them, or you can, I'm trying to think. I think, let's see, because this could get sewn to this. And this could get sewn to that. So this is the deal, you guys. You actually can clean finish this without binding it. I'm pretty sure. You can clean finish it also and bind the top. That's just the top edge. You can bind these edges. You can serge these edges. But I'm pretty sure right now we could sew this whole thing right here to this right here to this. And you'd have your inside of your bag. Sew it around the top. You would have left it open right here. Pull the bag through, edge stitch that shut. I'm not calling it the Stormy Messenger. Okay, cool. All right. I really don't like the way this looks right. I'm tired of looking at this bag. When it gets to this stage, I'm like, I just don't want to look at this anymore. I want to see the new one now, you know? It's hard to look at it. It's like looking at mistakes, even though I know they're not mistakes. So, okay, well, I'm going to find some fabrics and cut this out. I'm hoping I have something that's not black because black's so hard to see. The multi-pocket messenger. It's cute. We call it the bee sting bag. The stinger. The Loki, what have you got in your mouth bag? What have you got in your mouth? That's what we'll call it. What have you got in your messenger? The heart attack at the vet. Oh, man. All right, so yeah, hopefully I have some fabric that isn't dark. I have a dark purple. That might work. And then I'll cut this out. We'll sew it tomorrow. And we might sew a couple. We might be sewing this tomorrow and Saturday. Hope you guys are down for that. I almost went live yesterday, but I just wasn't up for it. But maybe you'll see me Friday. I don't know. Do I have to check copyright for a bag pattern? No. Their copyright is only for printed material like a book or, I mean, I can't photocopy someone else's pattern and sell it. I can't even, actually, legally you can use some elements from someone else's pattern in your design, and it's like you can get away with that. The U bag. Yeah, I mean, that's good because you guys designed it. But no, copyright is only for printed material or text or stuff like that. So it's different. And the only other thing that comes close is patents. And patents are extremely hard to get on sewn products. The only other time I ever saw them and heard about them was on things with removable elements, like removable legs on a pant or something. And even that, I think that isn't a good example. So that's why there's so much. If you start delving into copying in the fashion world, it's a huge thing. Just like it is on the internet. It's a big thing. So, and we all saw that we came by this organically. So it doesn't matter. Yeah. Oh, you meant the name. I'm sorry, Leslie. No. Nah. I mean, maybe someone's trademarked it, but I say, you know, like, I don't think if I'm giving something away for free and I'm not making money on it, it should be okay. You know, so the U bag, the me bag. Okay, I'll let you guys go. So thanks for hanging out with me today and we're chipping away at your bag design, dealing with my stress over my mischievous little puppy. And I will see you guys tomorrow. And I wore my computer glasses today. Thanks for putting up with that too. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.